Mike Tyson was standing outside the KFC Yum Center in Louisville, Kentucky, staring at the building where Muhammad Ali's body lay. June 10, 2016. The sun was brutal, the humidity suffocating. Tyson was sweating through his suit. But that wasn't why his hands were shaking. In a few minutes he was going to carry Ali's casket. And Tyson, who'd spent his whole life carrying the weight of violence, didn't know if he could carry the weight of this. I threw every punch for him, Tyson whispered to no one. Every single one, and now he's gone. What happened in the next 2 hours would break Mike Tyson in a way no opponent ever could. This is the story of a destroyer saying goodbye to the man who taught him what it meant to be great. Muhammad Ali died on June 3, 2016. Parkinson's disease, the same disease that was slowly killing Mike Tyson, though Tyson didn't know that yet. Ali had been battling it for 32 years. 32 years of trembling hands, slurred speech, a body that betrayed the mind inside it. 32 years of the greatest boxer who ever lived, trapped in a prison of failing nerves and dying cells. When Tyson heard the news, he was at his home in Las Vegas. His wife Kiki found him in the bathroom, sitting on the floor, crying. "He's gone," Tyson said. "Ali's gone." Kiki sat down next to him. She'd been with Tyson through his worst years. The bankruptcy, the drug addiction, the suicidal thoughts. She'd seen him broken in every way a man could break. But she'd never seen him cry like this. "I never got to tell him," Tyson said. "I never got to tell him what he meant to me. He knew, baby. He knew." "No." Tyson shook his head. "He didn't. How could he? I fucked everything up. I wasted everything. Curse gave me. I became exactly what they said I'd become. A thug. A convict. A joke. Ali tried to teach me, and I didn't listen. This wasn't just grief. This was guilt. The guilt of a student who disappointed his teacher. The guilt of a son who'd let down his father. Because that's what Ali had been to Tyson. After Curse D'Amato died in 1985, Tyson was an orphan again. And Ali, even though they weren't close, even though they only talked occasionally, became a kind of spiritual father figure, the voice in Tyson's head, reminding him what greatness was supposed to look like. But Tyson had forgotten, or ignored it, or destroyed it through drugs and rage, and self-sabotage. And now Ali was gone, and Tyson would never get the chance to make him proud. 3 days after Ali's death, Tyson got a call from Lonnie Ali, Muhammad's widow. "Mike," she said, her voice heavy with grief, but steady. "Muhammad would want you to be a pallbearer. Will you carry him?" Tyson couldn't speak for a moment, couldn't process what she was asking. "Me," he finally said. "Why me?" "Because you were one of his sons," Lonnie said simply. "Maybe not by blood, but by boxing, by what he saw in you. He always believed you were special, Mike, even when you didn't believe it yourself." Tyson was crying again. "He seemed to be doing that a lot lately. I don't deserve it." "That's not for you to decide," Lonnie said. "Muhammad chose you years ago. Now I'm just delivering the message. Will you carry him home?" "Yes," Tyson said. "Yes, I'll carry him." The week between that phone call and the funeral was the longest week of Tyson's life. He couldn't sleep, couldn't eat, just paced around his house, replaying every memory of Ali. The 1980 phone call when Tyson was 14, watching Ali get destroyed by Larry Holmes. Ali telling him, "I need you to beat Larry Holmes, not for revenge, for respect." The 1988 fight when Tyson destroyed Holmes in 4 rounds. The way Ali had called him afterward and said, "You kept your word, that's what makes you a man." The times they'd crossed paths at boxing events over the years, Ali would always pull Tyson aside, ask him how he was really doing. Not the champion bullshit, the real stuff. "You taking care of yourself, Mike?" "Yeah, Ali, I'm good." "No, you're not. I can see you're carrying too much. You got to let some of it go." But Tyson never let it go. He carried it all. The anger, the pain, the guilt, the fear, and it crushed him. Lost the title, lost his money, lost his mind, prison, divorce, bankruptcy, becoming a punchline. And through it all, Ali was there, not physically, but in Tyson's head, the voice of what he could have been if he'd just listened. The day before the funeral, Tyson flew to Louisville with Kiki. They checked into a hotel, and Tyson stood at the window looking out at the city, Ali's city, and felt completely hollow. "I don't think I can do this," he told Kiki. "You don't have to." "No, I do. I owe him this. I owe him everything. Kiki came and stood next to him, took his hand. Tyson's hands were shaking. They did that now. Parkinson's. The doctors had told him a year ago. The same disease that killed Ali. The same disease that was going to kill him. He'd understand if you couldn't do it, Kiki said. No, he wouldn't. Ali never quit on anything. Even when his body was failing, even when he couldn't talk right, couldn't move right, he kept showing up, kept fighting, not in the ring, but for the things he believed in. How can I quit on carrying him, when he never quit on me? That night, Tyson had a dream, or maybe it was a memory. He couldn't tell anymore. Sometimes the past and present got mixed up in his head. He was young again, 20 years old, heavyweight champion of the world, standing in a locker room before a fight, and Ali walked. This was before the Parkinson's got really bad, when Ali could still move okay, still talk without too much slurring. You scared? Ali asked. No, Tyson lied. Yes, you are. I can see it. But that's good. Fear makes you sharp. Just don't let it make you mean. I am mean. Cuz made me mean. No, Ali said, putting his hand on Tyson's shoulder. Cuz made you dangerous. There's a difference. Dangerous is skill. Mean is anger. And anger will destroy you faster than any opponent. I don't know how to be anything but angry, Tyson admitted. Then you better learn, Ali said, because the anger will eat you alive. It'll take everything, your title, your money, your soul, and one day you'll wake up and realize you wasted your whole life being mad about things you can't change. Tyson woke up from the dream, memory, whatever it was, and he was crying again. Ali had been right. The anger had eaten him alive, had taken everything. June 10th, the funeral. The procession was supposed to start at 9 a.m. Tyson got there at 7. He couldn't stay away, couldn't sit in that hotel room anymore, couldn't pretend he was okay. The other pallbearers were already gathering. Will Smith, who'd played Ali in a movie, Lennox Lewis, the former heavyweight champion who'd beaten Tyson in 2000, John Ramsey, Ali's former brother-in-law, others. They were talking quietly, sharing Ali stories, trying to keep it together. Tyson stood apart from them. He wasn't good at this. The socializing, the small talk, the normal human interaction, never had been. The rage and the violence had been easier than this. Lennox Lewis walked over. He and Tyson had a complicated history. Lewis had beaten Tyson badly in their fight. Tyson had been a shell of himself by then, broken and lost. Lewis had been gracious in victory, but Tyson had been humiliated. Mike, Lewis said, extending his hand. Tyson looked at it for a moment, then shook it. Lennox, this is hard, Lewis said. Yeah, he loved you, you know. Even after everything. Tyson's jaw clenched. I disappointed him. No man, you didn't. Ali didn't judge like that. He understood struggle. He understood falling. He just wanted you to get back up. I'm trying. I know you are. They stood there in silence for a moment. Two former heavyweight champions, both in their late 40s now, both carrying injuries, and regrets, and memories of glory that seemed impossibly far away. The casket's heavy, Lewis said quietly. I saw them load it earlier. It's going to be hard to carry. Good, Tyson said. It should be heavy. He was carrying the whole world for 74 years. Least we can do is carry him for a few minutes. At 8:30 they brought them inside to see Ali one last time before the service. The casket was in a private room, open. Tyson approached slowly, feeling like his legs might give out. And there he was, Muhammad Ali, the greatest. He looked peaceful. The Parkinson's had finally released him. No more trembling, no more struggle, just stillness. Tyson stood there looking at Ali's face, that famous face that had smiled and frowned and declared itself the greatest to every camera in the world, and something inside him shattered completely. He reached out, touched Ali's hand. It was cold. I threw every punch for you, Tyson whispered. Every single one, even when I was lost, even when I was destroying myself. Every time I stepped in that ring, I was trying to honor what you taught me. I know I fucked it up. I know I became everything you told me not to become. But I tried. God, I tried. The tears were falling freely now. Tyson didn't care who saw. I wanted to make you proud. I wanted to be great like you, not just in the ring. Anyone can win fights, but great like you were. The way you stood up for things, the way you never backed down, the way you turned boxing into something bigger than just hitting people. Tyson pulled his hand back, wiped his eyes. I'm sick too, he said quietly. The same thing you had. The doctors told me, and I'm scared. Ali, I'm so fucking scared, because I watched what it did to you. I watched you slow down, watched you struggle, watched the world watch you die piece by piece. And now it's happening to me, and I don't know if I'm strong enough to handle it, the way you did. He paused. But I'm going to try. I'm going to carry you to, and I'm going to carry what you taught me for whatever time I have left. I'm going to try to be better, not great. I'm never going to be great like you, but better than I was. Is that enough? Of course Ali didn't answer, but Tyson felt something anyway, a release, a lightness, like maybe Ali was saying it's enough, you're enough. At 9 a.m. they called the pallbearers to positions. The casket was African mahogany, custom made, beautiful, and as Lennox had warned it was heavy, 6 men on each side. Tyson was in the front left, the position closest to Ali's head. When they lifted, Tyson felt the weight immediately, not just the physical weight, though that was substantial, but something else, the weight of legacy, the weight of history, the weight of carrying the greatest boxer who ever lived through the streets of his hometown, one last time. Tyson's hands were shaking. The Parkinson's made everything harder now, made his grip uncertain, made him feel weak in a way that had nothing to do with age or training. Don't drop him, Tyson thought. Don't you dare drop him. They carried Ali out of the building, into the blazing June sun. The heat hit Tyson like a physical force. Sweat immediately soaked through his suit. His hands were slipping on the casket handle, but he held on. The hearse was waiting. They had to carry Ali downstairs, across pavement, through crowds of people who'd gathered to say goodbye. Every step was agony. Every step Tyson's hands trembled more. Will Smith was behind him, could see Tyson struggling. You got him, Smith whispered. Yeah, Tyson said through gritted teeth. I got him. They loaded the casket into the hearse, and Tyson's legs almost gave out. He stumbled slightly, caught himself. Lennox Lewis grabbed his arm, steadied him. You all right? No, Tyson said honestly. But I did it. I carried him. The procession went through Louisville, through the streets where Ali grew up, where he first learned to box, where he became who he was. Thousands of people lined the roads, some crying, some cheering, all of them saying goodbye to their hero. Tyson rode in one of the cars behind the hearse, watching the crowds, and he thought about something Ali had told him once. Boxing made me famous, but what I did outside the ring made me matter. That was the difference between them. Tyson realized. Ali had used his platform for something bigger, had stood up against the Vietnam War, had fought for civil rights, had turned himself into a symbol of resistance and courage. Tyson had just destroyed things, destroyed opponents, destroyed his reputation, destroyed himself. But maybe it wasn't too late to be something else. Maybe there was still time to matter. At the funeral service, speaker after speaker talked about Ali's greatness, his courage, his conviction, his humor, his love. Tyson sat in the audience listening, crying quietly. He hadn't been asked to speak. He was grateful for that. He wouldn't have been able to get through it anyway. But when President Bill Clinton got up and talked about Ali's refusal to go to Vietnam, about how he'd sacrificed everything for his principles, Tyson felt something break inside him. That was real courage. Not the courage to hit someone. Anyone could do that. But the courage to stand up to the entire United States government and say no, I won't kill for you. Tyson had never had that kind of courage. He'd always taken the easy path, the violent path. But maybe he could still learn. After the service, after they'd lowered Ali into the ground at Cave Hill Cemetery, Tyson stood at the grave for a long time. Everyone else had left. Even Kiki had gone back to the car. But Tyson couldn't move. He looked down at the fresh earth, covering Muhammad Ali's casket, and tried to find words. But there were no words big enough. Finally he said the only thing that felt true. I threw every punch for you, and I'm going to try to throw every day I have left for you too. Not in the ring, that part's over, but just living right, being better, honoring what you tried to teach me. He paused. Thank you for never giving up on me, even when I gave up on myself. Thank you for being the father I needed after Cass died. Thank you for showing me what greatness really looks like. Tyson knelt down, placed his hand on the dirt. Rest easy, champ. The fight's over. You won. You won everything. He stood up, wiped his eyes one more time, and walked away. In the car ride back to the hotel, Tyson was quiet. Kiki held his hand. How are you feeling? She asked. Tyson thought about it for a long time.
Lighter, he finally said, like I've been carrying something for 30 years, and I finally got to put it down. What were you carrying? The weight of disappointing him, the weight of not being what he wanted me to be. But today I realized he never wanted me to be him, he just wanted me to be the best version of me, and I'm finally trying to do that. Kiki squeezed his hand. He'd be proud of you. Maybe, Tyson said. Maybe. The years after Ali's death were different for Tyson. He started talking more openly about his struggles, about the drugs, the violence, the self-destruction. He started a podcast where he interviewed people and talked about vulnerability and healing. He wasn't perfect, still got angry sometimes, still struggled with the demons, but he was trying, really trying, and every time he wanted to quit, wanted to give up, wanted to destroy something, he thought about that day, June 10, 2016, carrying Ali through Louisville, the weight of that casket, the weight of legacy, the weight of trying to be worthy of the man who'd believed in him. In 2019, Tyson was asked about Ali in an interview, about what carrying him meant. That was the hardest fight I ever had, Tyson said, not because the casket was heavy, but because I was carrying my hero, my teacher, my father, and I was terrified I was going to drop him, that I was going to fail him one more time. But you didn't, the interviewer said. No, Tyson said quietly, for once in my life I didn't fail him, I carried him home, and that's the one thing I did right. He paused, tears in his eyes again. Every punch I ever threw was for him. People don't understand that. They think I fought for money or fame or glory, but I was always fighting for Ali, trying to live up to what he saw in me, trying to honor the gift Kos gave me, and Ali blessed. Did you succeed? Tyson thought about it. No, he finally said. I failed more than I succeeded, but I'm still fighting, not in the ring, in life, trying to be the man Ali believed I could be, and as long as I'm trying, as long as I'm getting up, every day and putting in the work, that's honoring him, that's throwing punches for Ali. Today, Mike Tyson is 58 years old, the Parkinson's is progressing slowly, but it's there, his hands shake, his speech sometimes slurs, he's becoming what Ali was, but unlike Ali, Tyson has time to prepare, time to make peace with it, time to show the world how to face your mortality with dignity. Ali taught me how to fight, Tyson said recently, but he also taught me how to lose, how to fall, how to get back up. And now, watching what he went through with Parkinson's, watching how he handled it, with grace, he's teaching me how to die. That's a hard lesson, someone said. It's the hardest, Tyson agreed, but it's the most important, because we all die. The question is, how do you want to be remembered? As the guy who gave up, or the guy who kept fighting, even when the fight was impossible? Tyson chose to keep fighting, for Ali, for Kos, for himself. And on June 10th every year, Tyson visits Ali's grave. He doesn't tell anyone, doesn't make it public, just goes quietly, kneels down, puts his hand on the headstone. Still here, champ, Tyson says, still carrying the weight, still throwing punches for you, and somewhere, in that great gym in the sky, Muhammad Ali is watching, proud of the broken boy from Brooklyn, who became a champion, fell completely apart, and then did the hardest thing possible, got back up, because that's what Ali taught him, not how to hit harder, not how to win more, but how to keep getting up when everything inside you is screaming to stay down. I carried him for 5 minutes that day, Tyson said, but he's been carrying me my whole life, and I'm going to spend whatever time I have left trying to carry what he taught me, trying to be worthy of the weight. Are you worthy? Someone asked. Tyson smiled, that sad, tired smile of a man who's fought too many battles, and lost most of them. Not yet, he said, but I'm trying, and Ali taught me that trying is enough, that showing up isn't, that being honest about your failures is more powerful than pretending you never fell. He paused. I threw every punch for him, and now I'm living every day for him. It's the only way I know how to say thank you. If this story moved you, if you understood what it means to carry someone who carried you, share it, because we all have our Muhammads, the people who saw something in us we couldn't see in ourselves, who believed in us when we didn't believe, who carried us through our darkest time, and the only way to honor them is to keep fighting, keep trying, keep getting up, even when, especially when you don't think you can. Mike Tyson carried Muhammad Ali home on June 10th, but the truth is, Ali carried Tyson home long before that. and continues to carry him still. That's what heroes do. They carry us when we can't carry ourselves, and then they teach us how to carry others. The weight we carry. 7 years have passed since Mike Tyson carried Muhammad Ali through the streets of Louisville. 7 years of Tyson trying to be worthy of that honor. 7 years of him waking up every day and asking, am I living in a way that honors what Ali taught me? Some days the answer is yes, some days it's no, but he keeps asking the question. That's what matters. Here's what Tyson understands now that he didn't understand as a young champion. Greatness isn't about never falling, it's about what you carry when you get back up. Tyson carried his hero's casket, but more importantly, he carries Ali's lessons, his wisdom, his example of how to face decline and disease with dignity, how to transform pain into purpose, how to let the world see your vulnerability and still stand tall. Who are you carrying? Not literally, though maybe literally, but whose memory drives you forward, whose belief in you keeps you getting up when you want to stay down, whose teachings echo in your head when you're about to make a decision that could change everything. For Tyson, it's Ali and Kos, two father figures who saw a scared, angry kid from Brooklyn and decided he was worth saving, worth teaching, worth loving. What Tyson learned carrying Ali's casket. The weight of legacy is real. You feel it in your trembling hands, in your aching shoulder, in the terror that you're going to fail, going to drop something precious, going to prove everyone right who said you weren't worthy. But you don't drop it. You hold on, even when your body is betraying you, even when the Parkinson's makes your grip uncertain, even when every muscle is screaming. You hold on, because some weights are worth carrying, some people are worth honoring, some lessons are worth the struggle. If this story broke something open in you, if you felt that moment when Tyson whispered, I threw every punch for you, do this. Share this story with someone who needs to remember that it's never too late to honor the people who believed in you. That redemption isn't about perfection, it's about trying. That the heaviest weights we carry aren't caskets or titles or championships. They're the expectations of people who loved us when we didn't deserve it. Comment below and tell us, who are you carrying? Whose memory drives you forward? Who believed in you when you couldn't believe in yourself? Name them, honor them publicly, because they carried you, and now it's your turn to carry their legacy forward. And if you're struggling right now, if your hands are shaking, if you feel like you're going to drop everything, if you're terrified you're not strong enough, remember what Tyson learned that day in Louisville. You don't have to carry it alone. Will Smith was behind him. Lennox Lewis was beside him. When his grip faltered, they steadied him. Find your pallbearers. Find the people who will help you carry the weight, because that's what Ali taught us. That's what Tyson learned. Greatness isn't about being strong enough to carry everything yourself. It's about being humble enough to let others help you carry what matters most. Subscribe for stories of broken champions learning to stand again. Hit the bell, share this video, and start asking yourself, what weight am I carrying, and is it worth it? Because Mike Tyson threw every punch for Muhammad Ali. Who are you throwing your punches for? Make it count.